Hello everyone, my name is John Adolphi with the Lost World Museum, where we ask the provocative, important question, where did we come from? Apes, aliens, or Adam? And today, we're going to talk about giant humans. Now, I believe there's three good reasons why to believe in the idea of giant humans, that they once existed, and, you ready for this? They were us. Yes. Let's start with reason number one. Giant plants and animals. This is a horsetail. It's about 30 inches tall and it grows beside usually brooks or streams in the wild. Now, in the fossil record, they're called calamites. And here's an example of a coalized calamite. Notice the ridges and the sections, just like what we see on the horsetail. Now, this is a small one compared to how big they can get. In the fossil record, we see these little guys at 100 feet with a diameter at the bottom of the trunk at 36 inches. Not the circumference, but the diameter. That's huge, much larger than today. My contention is to show you that the environment supported giantism and that there were, not everything, but there were many things that were much larger in the flood. I'm going to throw up on the screen right here a giant beaver skull. Notice the difference between the beaver of today, which is 30 to 50 pounds, about 3 feet long, and the beaver in the pre-flood world. These were up to 8 feet and weighed up to 450 pounds. All right, let's continue on. Gigantopithecus. This is the jaw, and this is the jaw that went from here to about here, not here. This is the jaw from a giant 10-foot monkey. They've only found 3 of these, and in China and Vietnam, and hundreds of the teeth. Imagine a 10-foot monkey. How tall were humans if we have a monkey that's 10 feet tall? Hold that thought. Even in the ocean, we see not only a shark, and this is the shark of today, but the shark of the pre-flood world was the megalodon, and that was upwards to 100 feet. So you can see that there is a huge difference between the two of today versus the pre-flood version of it. Again, it's a giant shark. So you have giant horsetails, you have giant monkeys, you have even giant penguins. Let me throw this one up there. Notice in here the kangaroos. The kangaroos are 6 to 7 feet tall today. They were upwards of 10 to 11 feet tall in the fossil record. And you see that penguin right there? That penguin is not 3 feet, but 5 to 6 feet in the fossil record. So the question then is this: if all these things were large, and there's more examples, we just don't have time to share them all, then could humans have been tall as well, considering they were partaking of the same pre-flood world environment? And the answer is yes. Just exactly how tall were we, though? That's a great question. Number 2, historical records. If we look at the biblical record first, okay, it just says giants, and the word Nephilim. The word Nephilim is also used in Numbers 13, and it's spoken of them that we looked like grasshoppers in their sight. Now, that doesn't mean they were several hundred feet tall. That's very impractical, nor is it realistic. But they were very tall. Now, we do have an example, I believe, of one of those giants, and that was Goliath. Now, take a look at this photo. Notice Bruce Lee at 5'7" is about 135 pounds. Above him, you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at 7'2". Above him, you have Goliath. Now, Goliath was anywhere between 9'9" and 11.5 feet tall, depending on the cubit that was used. I happen to believe that they used the royal cubit, so you're looking at a Goliath at around 11 feet. Now, I have a guy at my church who's 6'8". I'm 6'2". Not very often do I get a chance to look up at somebody. I actually feel small when I look up at this fella, and he's only 6 inches taller than me. Could you imagine a man that's standing in front of me, proportionately larger, girth, depth, size, width, and I'm looking up someone 5 feet taller with shoulders about 5 feet wide looking down at me? I would feel like a grasshopper at that point. Goliath is around 11 feet. Even if you go with the 9'9", that is a very tall individual. Does that give us an idea of just exactly how tall people were before the flood? It does give us a glimpse. Here's another example. Now I'm going to use extra biblical or outside of the Bible references here. There is a North American tribe called the Modoc tribe. And in their account of the flood, they said that humans were, and I quote, 12 to 15 feet tall. Yeah, they said that. Then we have the prolific writer and what some consider to be an American prophet, Ellen White, who writes in her book, Patriarchs and Prophets, that Adam and Eve, Adam, was more than twice as tall as men or humans today. Number 3, the eyewitness accounts. Ironically enough, when Ed Davis, the individual in 1943 that proclaims to have seen Noah's Ark from 800 yards away, said that the cages at the bottom, on the bottom level, were absolutely huge. He was told by the village folks there at the base of Mount Ararat that on the third floor, top floor, there was a cooking ceramic box and furniture, beds for people of gigantic size. Even the Native Americans, when the conquistadors came over here in the 1500s, when they were in Florida and Georgia, one chronicler said that they met a Native American that was 11 feet tall. And to top that all off, in the 1800s, when they started unburying the burial mounds throughout Pennsylvania, Ohio, the Mississippi Valley, check this out. They found giants in many of those mounds, anywhere between 7 to 11 feet tall. The Smithsonian has a portion of those, and they've been tucked away, and I hope they're in good condition. We'd love to see them, Smithsonian. In this account right here from 1932, it states that they found 45 individuals. One individual was 7'5", and even the women and children were of gigantic size proportionately. Friends, this is by no means an exhaustive presentation on the reality of giants. However, I believe that when you look into it through that lens and start gathering the information, you'll find that there is something from our distant past that does suggest the reality that we, at one time, were more than twice as tall as human beings today. Thank you.